Hello everybody, and welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to start another deep dive into the crazy, complicated, and sometimes very messy world of love, dating, and relationships that we can find on Reddit. Before we start reading these stories, I really want to say a huge and sincere thank you to all of you who watched, liked, and commented on our last video. Your feedback means the world to me, and it gives me so much energy and excitement to keep making these videos for you. So, please, get yourself comfortable, grab your favorite drink, and let's jump right into some truly amazing and shocking relationship stories from Reddit, specifically from the relationship advice part of the website. You are definitely going to want to pay close attention to every single little detail in these stories. My boyfriend of 2 years just admitted to me that he completely made up a story about being allergic to my cat, and he kept this lie going for our entire relationship. This is going to sound so crazy and confusing, but I really need your advice because I have absolutely no idea how to handle this or what to think right now. My boyfriend, whose name is Marcus, and I have been dating for 2 years. We have talked a lot about moving in together, and I truly believed he was going to be my husband someday. The main problem here is my cat, Muffin. She is a 7-year-old tabby cat, and she is basically my whole world. I adopted her when she was just a tiny kitten, and she has been my best supporter through a lot of hard times in my life. When Marcus and I first started dating, he told me he was allergic to cats. He said it wasn't a super bad allergy, but it was enough to make him sneeze and give him watery eyes if he spent a long time sitting close to her. I felt really bad about this, but I told myself we would figure out a way to make it work. Maybe he could take some allergy pills, or we could come up with clever ways to spend time together. I even looked into buying very expensive air cleaning machines and special vacuum cleaners that are made to clean up pet hair and dander from the air. Marcus was always so nice about it, telling me he would never want me to get rid of Muffin and that we would solve this problem as a team. For the last 2 years, our relationship has been almost perfect, except for this one big issue. Marcus's visits to my apartment were always short, and he would always leave before his allergy symptoms got really bad. We spent most of our time at his place, which was actually fine with me because his apartment is a lot nicer than mine. But because of this, Muffin and I spent a lot of evenings alone. A few months ago, we started talking seriously about moving in together. I asked him about Muffin, wondering if he would be willing to try stronger allergy medicine or if we should look for an apartment with really good air filters. Marcus started avoiding the question, saying we would worry about it when the time actually came. Last weekend, we went to a birthday party for his friend Jake. I was in the kitchen helping Jake's girlfriend make a cake when I heard Marcus laughing really loudly from the living room. I went to see what was so funny, and I found Marcus sitting on the couch with Jake's cat, Mr. Whiskers, sleeping happily on his lap. Marcus was petting the cat and talking to it in a sweet voice, and he didn't have any sniffles or red eyes at all. I just stood there for a second, completely confused. Then I asked him about his allergies. The whole room went completely quiet. Marcus looked totally shocked. Jake laughed and said something like, "What allergies?" Marcus loves cats. He is always trying to take Mr. Whiskers home when he visits. Marcus quickly tried to change the subject, saying his allergies must not be as bad today, or maybe he built up a tolerance to them. But I could see it in his face. He was lying, and he knew that I knew he was lying. We left the party early, and the car ride home was completely silent. When we got back to my apartment, I finally asked him directly. I asked him if he was really allergic to cats, or if he had been lying to me this whole time. He started crying and told me the whole truth. He is not allergic to cats at all. He never was. He just really dislikes them, and he didn't want to deal with a cat if we moved in together. His excuse was that by pretending to be allergic, he thought I would eventually decide to give Muffin away on my own, so he wouldn't have to be the bad guy who forced me to choose between him and my pet. I was completely shocked. For 2 whole years, this man had looked me in the eyes and lied to me every single day. He faked being sick, left my house early, and made me feel guilty about having a pet. He set up a situation where I thought I was causing him real physical pain. But here is the part that hurts the most. When I asked him what his plan was for when we moved in together, he admitted he expected me to choose living with him over keeping my cat, and that I would naturally find a new home for Muffin. He truly believed I would give up my cat for him, and he was ready to keep lying forever just to make that happen. I told him to get out and we haven't talked since. He has been flooding my phone with messages saying he is sorry, claiming he lied only because he loves me and wants us to work out. He now says he is willing to live with Muffin, but I honestly don't think I can ever trust anything he says again. My friends are split on what I should do. Some say I should forgive him because he was just trying to save our relationship, even if it was a stupid way to do it. Others say this kind of lying can never be fixed, and that his true colors showed when he tried to trick me into giving up my pet. I am completely lost. 2 years of my life were built on this huge lie. How many other things in our relationship were lies? And how can you ever trust someone who is willing to fake a medical problem just to avoid having a hard conversation? Am I making a big deal out of nothing? Or is this situation just as creepy and bad as it feels to me? That story is now finished. Just think about this guy for a second. He spent 2 entire years pretending to be allergic to cats, watching his girlfriend feel guilty about her pet, and secretly planning how to trick her into giving away her beloved animal. The absolute nerve of this person is just unbelievable. This is way more than just a small lie about a favorite movie or pretending to like her cooking. This was a planned, long-term lie that could have ended with her losing a pet she loved very much. Let's move on to our next story, because it seems the internet keeps giving us even more relationship drama. This time from the True Off My Chest part of Reddit. I just found out that my husband has been secretly learning sign language for the past 3 years, and the real reason why he was doing it is making me cry a lot. I don't even know where to start, but I feel like I need to share this because I have been crying for 3 days straight and I feel like I am going crazy. My husband, David, and I have been married for 8 years. We have a 6-year-old daughter named Emma, who was born completely deaf. Finding out that Emma couldn't hear was a really overwhelming experience for us. We didn't know any sign language, we didn't know about the resources out there, and to be honest, we were really scared about how we were going to give her the best life possible. We immediately started learning American Sign Language as a family. I threw myself into it completely, taking classes, watching tutorial videos, and practicing all the time. David had a much harder time with it. He would join in when we practiced as a family, but he was always slower to learn the new signs and would get frustrated easily. After about a year, he mostly stopped taking formal classes, saying he would just learn it naturally by talking with Emma and me. I was a bit disappointed, but I understood that everyone learns languages at their own speed. David is a great father to Emma in every other way. He is patient, loving, and very creative in how he communicates with her. They have made up their own special system of hand movements and facial expressions that works really well for them. Emma loves her dad, and I could see how strong their bond was even without him being fluent in sign language. Over the next few years, David's signing did get a little better, but very slowly. He could handle basic chats with Emma, but if we needed to talk about anything complicated, I had to step in and translate. I became the main communicator for our family when it came to Emma's doctor visits, school meetings, and social events. Sometimes this was really tiring, but I accepted it as just the way our family worked. Emma is now in the 1st grade at a special school for deaf kids, and she is doing amazing. Her vocabulary is growing super fast, and she has become really good at expressing herself in ASL. Recently, she started getting frustrated with David because she wants to tell him long, detailed stories about her day, her friends, and her dreams, but she feels held back by his basic signing skills. A few weeks ago, Emma came to me crying, saying she felt like her dad didn't want to talk about important things with her. She explained that she tried to tell him about a problem she was having with a friend at school, but he couldn't understand her, which made her feel like he didn't care about her life. This really broke my heart. I decided to talk to David about maybe taking a refresher class or getting a tutor to improve his ASL skills. I brought it up very gently, explaining how Emma was feeling and suggesting we could learn together to make it fun. David got very defensive, saying he was trying his hardest and that not everyone is as naturally good at languages as I am. We had a pretty big argument, which was really unusual for us. David accused me of making him feel like a bad father, and I accused him of not putting Emma's need to communicate first. We both said some mean things we didn't mean, and David ended up sleeping in the guest room that night. The next morning, David apologized and said he would think about getting some extra help with his signing. He seemed really sorry about the fight, and I thought we were going to be okay. Then, 3 days ago, something happened that completely changed my life. Emma was in a school show where all the kids were signing songs and poems. David and I were sitting in the audience watching our daughter shine on stage. During one of the songs, a little boy next to Emma forgot some of the hand movements, and Emma quietly helped him by showing him the right signs. I leaned over to whisper to David about how sweet and helpful Emma was being. But when I looked at him, I saw real tears rolling down his face. Not just watery eyes, but actual crying. I asked him what was wrong, and he just shook his head, saying he would tell me later. After the show, we went to get ice cream to celebrate Emma. She was so excited, signing really fast about her favorite parts of the show, telling us stories about her friends, and asking us to be proud of her. David signed back to her, and I noticed he seemed to understand her much faster than usual, though I just thought he was concentrating really hard. That night, after Emma was asleep, David asked me to sit down because he had something huge to tell me. He looked really nervous, and I honestly thought he was going to say he wanted a divorce, or that he was terribly sick or something equally terrible. Instead, he told me that for the last 3 years, he had been secretly taking advanced ASL classes twice a week. On top of that, he had been paying for a private tutor once a week. He also spent hours every day during his lunch breaks at work practicing. He had been using online tools, watching video blogs made by deaf people, and even going to events in the deaf community. During all those nights when he said he was working late, I was completely shocked. I asked him why he would keep something so huge a secret, especially since talking to Emma is the most important thing for our family. His answer was deeply emotional. He explained that when Emma was first diagnosed, he felt like a failure as a dad because sign language didn't come easily to him like it did for me. He watched me get good at ASL while he struggled, and he was terrified that Emma would love me more because I could talk to her better. He felt so embarrassed and ashamed about his learning problems. So he decided to get secret help. But then he said something that showed me his true reason for keeping it a secret. He wanted to surprise Emma on her 7th birthday next month by having a completely fluent conversation with her. He had planned a huge surprise where he would finally be able to understand and reply to all her complex thoughts and stories. He showed me videos on his phone of his practice sessions, showing hours of clips of him with his tutor in conversation groups, and rehearsing speeches for Emma. In the newer videos, his signing is absolutely beautiful. He is fluent, expressive, and looks so natural. His ASL is actually better than mine now. It hit me that during all those times I thought he was being lazy or not caring, he was actually working harder than I could ever imagine. All those late nights at the office, all those lonely lunch breaks, all those times he seemed quiet or distracted, were spent thinking about our daughter and trying to be a better father. The reason he cried at the school play was because he could understand every single word Emma was signing. For the very first time, he was experiencing her whole personality, her wit, her smarts, and her humor, without me having to translate for him. He was seeing his daughter the same way I see her every day, and it was too much for him to handle. I have been crying nonstop since he told me this. I feel so much regret for doubting him, for thinking he wasn't willing to put in the effort. I feel guilty for not seeing how hard he was working and the huge pressure he put on himself. But most of all, I am just so deeply moved by how much this man loves our daughter. Emma's birthday is in 2 weeks, and David plans to surprise her by signing a poem he wrote just for her, and then asking her to tell him all the stories she has been saving up to tell him. He is worried she might be mad about his secrecy, but I know she will be thrilled. Of course, I haven't told Emma anything, but I have noticed a big change in how David acts with her since he told me the truth. He is more confident, more involved, and I can see him purposely holding back his answers to her signs just to keep the surprise a secret. My love for my husband has grown so much, but I also feel like I have been living with a stranger for the last 3 years. He has been carrying this massive secret, working so hard, and planning this wonderful surprise. All this time, I thought he was bad at communicating with our daughter. I am struggling to mix all these feelings. I feel proud, guilty, amazed, and heartbroken all at once. And that is the end of that second story. I have to admit, this story is completely different from the manipulative and mean behavior we just saw in the first story. Here we have a father who loves his daughter so much that he spent 3 whole years secretly learning sign language just to give her a wonderful surprise. The amount of dedication and love he showed is truly amazing. Moving on to the relationship advice part of Reddit. My girlfriend keeps doing these really weird and strange tests on our relationship, and I really don't know how much more of this I can take. My girlfriend, Sarah, and I have been dating for about 10 months, and for the most part, our relationship has been really great. She has an awesome sense of humor. She is smart, beautiful, and we have great chemistry. But there is one thing she does that is starting to drive me absolutely crazy. I don't know if I am overreacting or if this is as bad as it feels. Sarah has a habit of testing how strong our relationship is. First, it seemed kind of cute and harmless. For example, early in our relationship, she would do little things to see how I would react. At parties, she might pretend to be really interested in another guy just to make me jealous, or she might act mad about something to see if I would try to make her happy. I thought these were just her ways of checking how much I cared about her. And to be honest, some of these tests were kind of sweet. One time, she pretended to hate my favorite movie, which made me really try to convince her to watch it again. Or when she pretended she didn't want me to meet her parents, just to see if I would push to meet them since that was a big deal to me. But over the last few months, these tests have gotten way more complicated and honestly really weird. They are starting to feel less like playful relationship games and more like psychological mind games. Let me give you some examples of her recent tests. Last month, Sarah told me she was going on a girls' trip to Miami for the weekend. She showed me pictures of the hotel, told me which friends were going, and even asked me to drive her to the airport. During all this, I was totally supportive and told her to have fun. Turned out there was no trip at all. She spent the weekend at her sister's house across town, making up fake Instagram stories with pictures she found online to make it look like she was in Miami. Her excuse was that she wanted to see if I would try to control her or get suspicious of her traveling without me. 2 weeks ago, Sarah told me her ex-boyfriend had reached out and wanted to get coffee to get closure. She said she was thinking about going and asked what I thought. I told her I trusted her, but admitted it would make me a little uncomfortable. She pushed me, asking if I would be okay with it if I really trusted her, and if I thought she still had feelings for him. I said I trusted her, but I preferred she didn't meet him. Finally, she said she decided not to go. Later, I found out the whole thing was fake. There was no ex-boyfriend. She just wanted to see how I would react to being jealous. But the most recent test was the one that really hurt me. Last week, Sarah told me she was offered a job in Seattle that would double her salary. She said it was a great opportunity, but it would mean we had to do a long-distance relationship for at least a year, maybe more. She spent 3 days talking about this fake job, asking for my advice, and weighing the pros and cons. I was supportive but honest about how hard long distance would be. I helped her make a list of questions for the HR department, looked up the cost of living in Seattle, and even researched how to make long distance work. Then, she revealed it was all a lie. There was no job. Her goal was to see if I would try to stop her career growth or if I would support her success, even if it meant sacrificing our time together. When I passed her test by being totally supportive, she seemed happy, but I felt completely used and emotionally drained. When I confronted her about these manipulative tests, Sarah explained she does them because she was betrayed in past relationships and needs to know I am trustworthy and really care about her. She says this is her way of making sure we are compatible and that I am not just pretending to be a perfect partner until I get comfortable and show my true colors. I understand she has trust issues and I want to be patient with her healing, but these tests are exhausting me. I feel like I am always being watched instead of just being in a relationship. I am starting to second-guess everything we do, wondering if she is being real or if it is another test. The worst part is I never know when I am being tested, so I can never just relax and be myself. It feels like I am in a job interview that never ends. I tried to tell Sarah how these tests make me feel, but she got defensive, saying if I really loved her, I wouldn't mind proving it. She said relationships take work and she needs reassurance because of her past trauma. I do love her, and I want to support her through her trust issues, but I question if this can work long-term for both of us. I am worried that even if I pass every test, she will just invent new ones, and I am starting to feel resentful, which makes me question if I am a good partner. My friends tell me to break up with her right now, but they don't see how amazing she is when she isn't testing me. When she isn't doing this, we are incredibly happy. She is loving, supportive, and makes me laugh every day. I don't want to leave, but I don't know how to make her see that constant testing isn't how a healthy relationship works. Am I being too sensitive? Is this just what relationships are like when someone has trust issues? Or is this just manipulative? How can I reassure Sarah without accepting behavior that makes me feel insecure? And that story just finished, and it is a perfect example of how having trust issues can actually destroy the very trust you are trying to protect. This person, so scared of getting hurt, is actively ruining her own relationship by making up huge, fake scenarios to test her boyfriend. The next story is from the relationship advice section. I have been married for 12 years, and I just found out that my wife has been running a secret Instagram account where she pretends she is single. I honestly don't know how to process this, but I need outside advice because I feel like I am losing my mind. My wife, Jessica, and I have been married for 12 years, and together for 15 years total. We have 2 kids, a 9-year-old and a 7-year-old. I thought we had a great marriage. Sure, we have had normal problems like every couple, but nothing that felt like a huge disaster. Jessica has always been pretty active on social media, which never bothered me. She posts pictures of our family, our vacations, and normal daily life. She has a main Instagram account that I follow, and it is exactly what you would expect from a mom in her 30s who is married. It has pictures of the kids at their sports games, date nights with me, family parties, and stuff like that. About 2 months ago, I was helping our 9-year-old son with a school project about different jobs. He was interested in photography and thought it looked cool. I was showing him how to search for photographers on Instagram to see their work when something weird happened. I typed in Jessica's name to show him his mom's profile as an example of someone who takes nice pictures, even if she isn't a pro. But when I typed in Jessica Martinez, 2 accounts popped up. One was her normal profile that I knew. The other had a slightly different username, but it definitely had her picture as the profile photo. I clicked on the second profile, thinking maybe it was an old account she forgot about, or maybe someone was stealing her pictures. But as I scrolled through it, I became sure that Jessica was the one running this account. The pictures were taken inside our house, with her wearing clothes I recognized, and in places we had been together. But here is the detail that freaked me out. There was absolutely zero mention of her being married or having kids on this profile. Her bio said she was a free spirit living her best single life. It had pictures of her at restaurants I had never been to, at bars I didn't know, at events she never told me about, and pictures of her getting beauty treatments at the gym and hanging out with people I didn't know she was friends with. And in every single picture, she looked like a totally different person, looking more glamorous, confident, and carefree. I started scrolling back through months of posts, and it was like looking at a parallel universe of my wife's life. There were pictures that looked like dates with different men. Nothing super obvious, but definitely pictures of her dressed up sitting across from guys in fancy restaurants or at lounges. The captions said things like, "Great conversation tonight," or "Loved meeting new people," with heart emojis. There were also pictures from girls' nights out I never heard of, snapshots from concerts, art shows, and wine tastings, all things that supposedly happened on nights she told me she was working late, visiting her sister, or just running errands. The comment section is what really pushed me over the edge. A bunch of men posted comments like, "You look gorgeous as always," and "When can we get that drink?" She replied to these comments in a flirty way, using winking emojis and saying things like, "Soon, handsome," or "You know how to find me." I felt like I was going to throw up. I took as many screenshots as I could before I lost my nerve. Then, I closed the app and tried to pretend I hadn't seen anything, but the pictures were burned into my brain. That night at dinner, I just stared at Jessica, wondering who this woman was that I had been married to for over a decade. For the next week, I became obsessed with figuring it out. I started paying close attention to her schedule, how she used her phone, and her general mood. I noticed she was always very protective of her phone, keeping it face down and taking it with her everywhere, even to the bathroom. She had been working late more and more over the past year, and she started going out with friends more often than before. I also noticed she had been putting a lot more effort into how she looked lately. New clothes, more trips to the salon, and more time at the gym. At the time, I thought this was great, happy that she was taking care of herself and feeling confident. Now, though, I wondered if she was doing all this for someone else. I decided I had to talk to her, but I wanted to be careful. I didn't want to accuse her of cheating if there was a simple explanation. Maybe it was a big joke or a social experiment. Maybe she was planning a surprise for me. I know that sounds naive, but I was desperate for a logical reason. Last Saturday night, Jessica said she was going out with her sister and would be home late. I waited until she left. Then, I opened her secret Instagram profile. Just like I expected, about an hour later, she posted a picture of herself at a fancy downtown cocktail bar with the caption, "Saturday Night Vibes." She was wearing a dress I had never seen before and looked incredibly beautiful. I decided to drive downtown and see if I could find her. I know how crazy that sounds, but I had to know the truth. I found the bar from her picture and parked across the street for about an hour. Finally, I saw Jessica walk out of the bar with a man I didn't know. They were laughing and standing really close to each other. He walked her to her car, and they hugged goodbye. It wasn't a quick, polite hug, but a long, intimate one that made my stomach drop. I followed her home from a distance, getting there about 20 minutes after she did. When I went inside, she was already in her pajamas, her hair in a messy bun, acting like she had been home for hours. She asked about my night and told me she had a quiet night with her sister. I couldn't take it anymore. I asked her directly about the Instagram account. The look on her face was like I had slapped her. She turned completely white, then immediately got defensive. She started asking how I found it, accusing me of spying on her and invading her privacy. When I kept asking about the men in the pictures and the comments, she started crying and admitted she had been going on dates. But she strongly swore nothing physical happened and she never cheated. She explained she just wanted to feel desired and attractive again, saying that being a wife and mom made her feel invisible. She said the Instagram account started as a place to post pictures where she felt pretty and confident without worrying about judgment from other parents or family. But when men started commenting and messaging her, she got hooked on the attention. She admitted this led to meeting some of them for drinks or dinner, but always in public, and she never did anything beyond talking. She kept repeating that it wasn't cheating because there was no physical stuff. Still, I felt completely betrayed. She had been living a secret life, constantly lying to me, and building emotional connections with other men while pretending to be single. She had been dressing up to meet strangers while I was at home with our kids, thinking she was busy with work. The most painful part was how complicated the lie was. She had carefully kept up this fake persona for over a year, carefully building an image of herself as a fun, available single woman. She had been replying to flirty comments from men while sitting next to me on the couch. She had been setting up these secret meetings while helping our kids with their homework. When I asked her what her end goal was, she said she didn't know. She explained it started small and just grew, and she didn't know how to stop without ruining everything. She said she loved our family and didn't want to lose us, but also said she felt trapped in a life that didn't feel like her anymore. I told her I needed space to think, and so I have been staying at my brother's house for the past week. Jessica has been texting me nonstop, begging me to come home and talk to fix things. She says she deleted the account and wants us to go to marriage counseling. She admits she messed up badly and wants to save our marriage. However, I don't know if I can ever fully trust her again. Every time she said she was working late or hanging with friends, she was actually on dates with other men. Every time she posted a normal family picture on her main Instagram, she was simultaneously running this secret profile where she acted like I didn't exist. The amount of lying is just huge. Our kids keep asking when I am coming home, and it breaks my heart. They have no idea what is happening, and I don't know how to explain it to them if Jessica and I can't fix this. But I also don't know how to stay with someone who is capable of lying like this for so long. Is this something a marriage can survive? Am I overreacting by calling this emotional cheating? How do you rebuild trust with someone who lived a completely fake life behind your back? Now, let's move on to our final story for today. And this last story is going to make you rethink everything you thought you knew about love and relationships. It was posted in the True Off My Chest section. I have been in love with my absolute best friend for 8 long years, and I just recently found out that they have felt the exact same way about me this entire time. This might sound like a plot from a cheesy romantic movie, but I promise you, this is my real life. and I am still trying to process this amazing turn of events. I feel like I have to share this somewhere because keeping it all inside is becoming too much to handle. My best friend, Alex, and I have known each other since we started university. We first met during freshman orientation 8 years ago and clicked right away. We had the same sense of humor, liked the same things, and it was so easy to talk to each other from the very start. We quickly became inseparable, spending almost every day together, having deep conversations late at night, and going on random trips around campus. The truth is, I fell in love with Alex pretty early on, probably within the first few months of knowing them. But Alex started dating someone else, a woman named Rebecca. Right around the same time I realized I was falling hard. I thought I had missed my chance. So, I pushed those feelings down and focused on being the best friend I could be. Over the years, Alex and I have both dated other people and broken up, but we have always stayed incredibly close. We talk every single day. We go to weddings and parties as each other's plus ones when we are single. We know all the deep, private details about each other's families, our dreams, our fears, and our embarrassing secrets. People always ask if we are a couple, and we always just laugh it off, saying we are just friends. But here is the truth I have never told anyone. I never stopped being in love with Alex. Through every relationship we both had, through every breakup, every party, every long late-night talk, I have been completely and totally in love with my best friend. I got really good at hiding it, at being supportive when Alex was dating others, at pretending I didn't care when my heart raced because our hands accidentally touched or when we fell asleep watching movies together. I have dated other people, some of them very seriously, and I truly cared for them. But a piece of my heart always belonged to Alex, and I had accepted that it would always be that way. I had accepted it as my own personal burden to carry, knowing that Alex only saw me as a platonic friend and that I needed to be happy just loving someone who would never love me back in that way. 3 months ago, Alex went through a really bad breakup with someone they had been dating for about a year and a half. I was there for every tear, every angry rant, every moment of doubt. We spent weeks together, supporting each other as Alex got over that relationship, and I was happy to be needed, even if it was just as a friend. During this time, I noticed a small change in how Alex acted around me, being a bit more affectionate, paying more attention, and holding eye contact longer during our talks. There were times when it felt like Alex was about to say something huge, like there was a big secret they wanted to tell me but couldn't get the words out. 2 weeks ago, we were at Alex's apartment, doing our normal routine of watching shows and eating takeout, just like we had done a million times before. Alex seemed unusually quiet and kept looking at me in a way that made me nervous. Finally, I asked if something was wrong, if everything was okay. Alex took a deep breath and said there was something important they needed to talk about, something that had been bothering them for a long time. My heart started pounding with fear, thinking they were going to say they needed space in our friendship or that they had met someone new. Instead, Alex said they needed to be completely honest about something, even if it ruined our entire friendship. They revealed that they had been in love with me since our sophomore year of college, that every relationship they had was just an attempt to get over their feelings for me, and that they couldn't keep pretending anymore. I genuinely thought I was hallucinating. I made Alex repeat it 3 times because I couldn't believe what I was hearing. When it finally sank in that this was really happening, that Alex was confessing their love for me, I started crying. These weren't sad tears, but just a massive release of relief and shock. I confessed to Alex that I had been in love with them for 8 years, that I had spent nearly 10 years thinking I was the only one feeling this way, and that every day of our friendship had been both amazing and painful, because I got to be with them but could never have what I really wanted. We just sat there, crying and laughing at the same time, staring at each other like we couldn't believe this was real. Alex explained they had been dropping subtle hints for years, trying to see if I liked them back. But every time they thought I might feel the same, I would either start dating someone else or talk about how much I valued our friendship. I told them I had been doing the exact same thing, thinking their nice gestures were just friendly because I was so sure they could never see me romantically. We both realized we had been protecting ourselves from rejection by never being brave enough to be vulnerable. The most amazing part was looking back at our history with this new knowledge. Alex told me about specific times they almost confessed, moments they were sure I liked them, but decided to stay quiet. I shared stories of nights I went home after hanging out with them and cried because I wanted to say I loved them so badly, but was too terrified of losing them. We talked until the sun came up, sharing 8 years of hidden feelings, secret moments, and missed chances. It was the most emotional conversation of my entire life. By the time morning broke, we both knew this was it, that we were going to try to be together. Our first kiss happened at exactly 6:30 in the morning in Alex's kitchen while we were making coffee. It was soft, careful, and absolutely perfect, feeling like coming home and starting a new adventure at the same time. We spent the rest of that day talking, kissing, and marveling at how different our dynamic felt now that we could finally be honest. It has been 2 weeks since that huge night, and I feel like I am living in a dream. We have decided to take things slow since we are moving from being friends to being a couple. But to be honest, it doesn't feel like a change at all. It feels like we are finally allowed to just be who we have always been deep down, under all the pretending. The crazy part is how natural it all feels. We already know each other better than most couples who have been together for years. We already have inside jokes, shared memories, and are totally comfortable with each other. The only new thing is being able to openly and physically show our love. Our mutual friends are completely shocked. Apparently, everyone has been waiting for this to happen for years. My sister told me she had been betting with her friends about when Alex and I would finally get together. Alex's mom cried when she heard the news, saying she had hoped for this since the first time she met me. The funniest thing is that our basic friendship hasn't really changed. We still have the same conversations, the same humor, and the same easy connection. The only real difference is that now, when Alex looks at me with those gentle eyes, I know what it means. Now, when we fall asleep watching movies, we don't have to pretend it was an accident. Now, when people ask if we are dating, we get to smile and say yes. I keep waiting for something to go wrong, for a moment when this perfect state feels weird or complicated, but it just never happens. It feels like the most normal thing in the world. It feels like we wasted 8 years being scared of something that was always meant to happen. I am scared to jinx it by saying I am too happy, but I just can't hide it. I am with my best friend and the love of my life, and they are the exact same person. I get to wake up every day and actively choose the person I have been in love with for 8 years. It feels almost too perfect to be true, but it is my actual reality. I just wanted to share this somewhere because I am so incredibly happy, grateful, and still a bit in shock that this is really happening. Sometimes the most amazing things really are worth the wait, even when you don't know you are waiting. And that, my friends, is the end of that beautiful story. After all the manipulation, lying, and relationship drama we looked at today, it feels so incredibly good and heartwarming to finish with a story that is so pure and full of hope. Two people who loved each other for 8 years, but were too scared to risk their friendship, only to find out they had been wasting all that time being afraid of something that has now happened. And that is all the Reddit relationship drama I can handle for just one single day. These stories really show us the entire range of human connections, from the clearly toxic and bad to the surprisingly sweet and healthy. If you have stuck with me through all of these stories, you are probably just as emotionally drained as I am right now. Thank you for coming along with me through all this relationship chaos. We have gone from talking about fake cat allergies and sign language surprises to secret Instagram lies and 8-year-long love stories. The internet really is an amazing place when it comes to the complicated mess of human relationships. Please hit that subscribe button if you want more stories that will make you question everything you thought you knew about relationships. I will be back tomorrow with more Reddit stories.